Here we have a Fender 64 custom deluxe reverb amp, and it has been really taken advantage of by another tech who shall remain nameless. In stock form, this amp comes with F&Ts, which are quite good. F&T 16 microfarad. Someone has put in Kendrick caps. These are all Kendrick 20 microfarads. Kendrick used to be an amp company. Kendrick does not manufacture capacitors. These are cheap things, and they're overcrowded and poorly installed under a lot of tension. These are all going to get changed out, either with some MODs or some F&Ts, and I'll clean all that up. So that's part one. Next up is this really generic, cheap-ass output transformer. I looked up all the numbers on it. I can't find any information on this anywhere on the internet. And I asked the owner how much he paid the other tech for this work, and he said they gave him a discount because they changed out the output transformer, and they gave him a discount if they could keep the old one. I think he was robbed. Even the current production ones that they're making are much higher quality than this. So I'm going to Habor in here because it's junk. It's an expensive amp. He wants to love it. I'm going to make it an app capable of loving. And so this generic piece of shit's going away. Sorry to be negative, but I don't like it when people are taken advantage of. Not that Fender's entirely blameless on this model either. What's the deal with this cage? It's pointless. I don't see any point to this. If it's at all feasible, I'm going to take it out just because it's stupid. It's just a flimsy bit of thing to get bent up and protects nothing, serves no role. It's not a Faraday cage. It's why? Inside is a combination of bad stuff that Fender did, well-intentioned but not well-executed stuff that the other tech did, and some bad stuff the other tech did. As far as Fender stuff goes, generic silver mic is here and here on the treble caps, and just kind of a general ugly look with lots of spaghetti and terrible lead dress throughout. As far as what the other tech did, well-intentioned, he separated the plates, because on V2B and V1B, there was a wire here. Both those channels went through this coupling cap, which has been changed out, and that was how the channels were mixed, and you had reverb and trim on both channels, but it's the noisiest possible way. So the tech separated them. You can have reverb and trim on both channels and keep it quiet, but Fender does not do that. And so instead, he has this wire going from this plate all the way over there to the other side of the board. I'll show you what's going on at the other end in a little bit. So this cap has been changed out to this 22 nanofarad Kendrick cap, which is a pretty, it's all right. It's just a cheap generic cap. The very expensive CDM silver mica here. That's good. Another CDM silver mica here on the reverb mixer. So those are fine. Curious as to why, but there it is. And going over here, you can see that this cap has also been changed out, this 100 nanofarad from the original blue one like these to another cheapo Kendrick. And here's this white wire continuing from V1B, and it's going to this added terminal here. It's going through this 47 nanofarad cap through a resistor that I have not measured yet to the input of the phase inverter, along with the yellow wire, which is taking the output of the reverb circuit and vibrato circuit, and it is going through its mix resistor. So they've replicated the mix resistors. They have changed the 1 nanofarad input coupling cap of the phase inverter to a 10 nanofarad, which is terrible. It will give tons of thumpy, useless low end. Also some really ugly solder joints along the way. In here, it's hard to know if this has been retouched because of the bad solder joints, or if this is factory, because the factory amps have a lot of bad solder joints. Not so much on replacing the volume pot with this push-pull. These 1 meg audio taper push-pulls are pretty terrible in terms of quality, and there's just nothing below 9 o'clock on the travel of them. And it's a pointless thing to put in a bright switch on a deluxe reverb. Unless you're just always playing humbuckers, they always sound better without it. And if you've got humbuckers, just turn the treble up a little bit. Down here in the bias circuit, the previous tech replaced the axial electrolytic here with a radial, and the radial's a good quality cap. It's a higher quality cap than any axial, but it doesn't have any mechanical support, and there probably was nothing wrong with the original. This amp's not old enough for the old axials to go wrong. So while certain things are debatable and, a tech can view something this way or that way, I think that as soon as the previous tech decided to basically steal the old output transformer and put in that piece of junk, he lost all vote in this. So I'm going to be rebuilding this nicely. Probably put an axial in here as well. I'll make sure that the values are what I want to see there. Factory or not, I'm going to be cleaning up a lot of solder joints. Some are bad from the factory. Some are not great work by the previous tech. I can see some that are just bad. And some are just the inevitable result of putting leaded solder on a joint which already has lead-free. They don't mix. You've got to get all the lead-free out, or you got to use lead-free. You can't cross the streams. It's bad. I'll be doing something with this Charlie Foxtrot of wires here, where the AC mains are coming in all next to all this other stuff, and putting in some better switches with less spaghetti everywhere. I should really not say Charlie Foxtrot and stuff like that. That doesn't translate to people from other countries. It's short for clusterfuck. It means a horrible, horrible mess. This amp is also a great example of foobar and snafu, other good military terms in the US, which are useful abbreviations which certainly apply here for those who don't speak English well enough to have a grasp on our peculiar idioms. It means that this thing was wired by an idiot. And as the owner really wants this to be a really great sounding deluxe reverb that he can play for the rest of his life and never have any problems with it and just make it sound as good as anything out there, I'm going to be rewiring a lot of this stuff, shortening leads, changing the lead dress, sometimes just replacing sections of wire and cleaning up solder joints and reinventing a wheel that Fender was allegedly selling to begin with. Fender markets this as just something just as good as a vintage, much better than anything else on the market, and it's just not. It's just patently not. It's offensive. It's stupid. I can make it sound really good, but it's still going to be a deluxe reverb with a Princeton tremolo circuit because the custom part of this means that they don't actually put the real deluxe reverb tremolo into it, the actual vibrato. Sorry to be such a curmudgeon, but amps like this really bring it out in me. Anyway, thanks for watching.